Sombra's playstyle is a bit of a mystery, but one that we can unravel with careful understanding of where her strengths lie and how to properly build a team comp around her and play with her. What's going on, guys? It's FREEDO for Your Overwatch, and we're going to be discussing Sombra again, who's possibly my favorite hero to pick in Season 5. But there's a lot of misconceptions about Sombra's play and how she's supposed to be used, and the number one thing that you have to learn about Sombra is that she is a support, basically. We're going to discuss the philosophy of that more later, but for now, just get that in your head that you're swapping her out for one of your healers, not for one of your DPS most of the time. The same thing can be argued for Torb, who works best on defense in a single healer setup, but we're going to watch this clip of me behind enemy lines playing as Sombra, and I want to identify the step-by-step decision-making process that's going on in my brain while I'm playing Sombra. My team more or less lost this fight, and they're in the regrouping stage. Now, for most characters in the entire game, that means you gotta get the heck out of Dodge. If the team fight isn't on, you don't really want to be anywhere near the fight. But Sombra is an infiltrator, and before the fight's on, she could be setting up health pack hacks, which can aid in the next fight, as well as charge her ult while staying safe if you're smart about it. Now, right here was a very complicated ultimate exchange, and understanding the ult economy is where you're really going to shine as Sombra. Ideally, this is where I want to be. Only a few shots away from charging my EMP, I can strike at a moment's notice. I'm able to take out the Zenyatta fairly easily here, and it looks like it's about a fair trade right now. Our Mercy then reses, meaning that we're at an advantage, but their Mercy reses too, and they pop soldier sites, killing too many of our friendlies, to the point where I don't think we have a chance to win this fight. Now, in some world, maybe I'm able to pop Sombra ult and get a kill or something and swing it back, but more than likely, it's safer to just disengage from this fight and wait for the next fight. Meanwhile, I'm hiding behind the enemy team. In my previous Sombra gameplay, some people said it was boring or I could have been doing way more, but really, right now, I'm not doing nothing. I'm looking at the triangles of my friendly teammates to wait to be able to time perfectly from me making contact with the enemy at the same time that my friendlies are making contact on the front line. This means when I come behind and pop the Zenyatta, I get a little greedy and don't even waste my EMP on him, and instead EMP the rest of the team. We're able to get a full clean team wipe with actually very few ultimates used. And that kind of decision making with Sombra and knowing when to time things is how you're going to get the big value out of her. Now, this last fight, I'm actually going to show another example of me failing to time the ult perfectly, but like I said, Sombra's one of the hardest heroes to play, and this is the reason why. We're behind the enemy here, able to clean up some kills. With decent Sombra tracking, you are actually going to be able to focus down the key targets. Mercy res comes through, but it's still winnable with some ultimate usage, and our D.Va pops self-destruct over the top, and I mistime it by just a hair. I heard the sound cue of the D.Va mech going into the air, and I thought I could pop the Zarya bubbles in time for the D.Va mech to be able to wipe them out. Unfortunately, instead, I'm a second off, and this fight stalls out slightly longer than it had to. Luckily, we were already so far up in the fight that the little stall tactics that they tried to employ doesn't really go too far for them, but you can see in the moment to moment, if I just timed it slightly better, it could have been even more optimized. That's what makes Sombra such a difficult character. Now, same exact strategy basically, permeating the enemy lines, setting myself up. The cart's not even getting contested right now, so I don't really have to be making much noise as long as I'm hacking some health packs. Then Mercy finds me, and she actually thinks she can win this duel. Sad for you, love. Sombra actually can deal some damage, especially on targets that move very slow, and behind enemy lines like this, I'm actually kind of a terror. And at this point is when I want to talk about Sombra as a support, because keep in mind, we only have a single healer, quote-unquote healer, in this team comp, and that's the best way to play this. You don't want too many healing sources on your team, because then the ultimate economy just gets out of whack entirely. Here we have a Mercy and a Sombra, two healing ultimates that get charged really fast through Mercy's healing staff and Sombra's health packs, but if you put in another healing source in that as well, the team fights get wonky. Nobody charges ult fast enough to make impact early, and it feels like a multi-support comp because it is. And this also is what makes Sombra so good against dive. It's a more complex point that I didn't have time to explain in my last video, but it's something that you definitely want to learn about Sombra if you even consider putting her in your hero pool, and that is, with Sombra, you create a support character that the enemy team physically cannot dive, right? As many of you supports I'm sure know, if you play Mercy, Zenyatta, Ana, and the enemy team does any bit of coordination to try to kill you, they pretty much are going to be successful in that a lot of the time. You have some tools to be able to either evade, stave them off, or possibly kill the threat yourself, but a lot of the time you are a sitting duck, especially in the dive-heavy meta. A big percentage of why Sombra counters dive comp, or at least dive characters, this enemy team isn't running a full dive, but has some dive aspects to it, is that instead of having your support character isolated in the backline who has to sort of run for cover every time the dive comes in to harass them, Sombra is invisible. She can be wherever on the map she wants to be, and instead of localizing your healing attached to a character that can be pounced, she instead permeates the map and hacks health packs, which are less accessible and less powerful, of course, than the antibiotic rifle, which she wields wherever she goes and heals 80 health a shot, bam! Intense amounts of pocketing with burst heal and stuff. Yeah, the normal healers have much stronger healing, but also their weakness, of course, is that they're not very mobile. Even Mercy, of course, is quite mobile, but we all know those situations where that enemy Genji is just killing you every single time, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, you might want to consider, if you're playing in a game as a support and you can't stay alive. I see this happen all the time, really. Oftentimes, it's not Lucio, because he has so much shake and bake, he's not the one getting focused, but Ana, Mercy, or Zenyatta oftentimes struggle to stay alive against good flankers. Well, instead of just dying over and over again, what you can do is take matters into your own hands. You'll lower the overall healing capacity of your team, meaning that your team is going to have to utilize your health packs to get healing. They won't be able to get pocketed, but they weren't getting pocketed anyway because you were dead all the time. Instead, you can offset that healing power across the map, and also, of course, when that Genji tries to come sniff around to kill you, you can hack him, meaning that he can't just run away after he steals your lunch money. You can finally track down those bullies and do something about it. Now, me saying this right now is very controversial because a lot of players right now don't like Sombra at all. You might see her on your team and think that she's a throw. I got this a lot in my comment section, despite the fact that the pros are picking her like almost non-stop right now. She's incredibly viable, but of course hard to play. But Mercy's hard to play too if you can't stay alive. It takes a lot of skill to be able to get value, duck away, dodge the Genji all at the same time. It takes some skill to do, and although Sombra is difficult, don't automatically assume that you'd rather have that Mercy attached to your hip, dying for free, when a Sombra at least could stay alive, put that healing value outside of the team comp, and lower their risk of immediate death upon dive engage. It's a really controversial idea, I'm sure, but I assure you it definitely does work. For all the aforementioned reasons, of course, and there's still more Sombra lessons to be had. One in particular is when to change off Sombra now, and at the end of the Streets phase of Route 66, after I die using my ult, wiping the team quite powerfully, because there isn't close, localized health packs to the objective, it's a good time to swap Sombra. I can set up from a distance, shooting high value health at my team, from afar, stay safe myself because the enemy is going to have to be trickling out to touch the cart. I can stay miles away from that, forcing them to have to make a big decision to abandon the cart, allow the push to happen in order to even kill me. But also, of course, if I stayed on Sombra, it would be difficult to charge my ult. We don't want to be leaving the cart to go run across the street, down the block, for a carton of milk and grab a health pack. There's no time for that, right? You got to push that cart in, stay on the cart, and withstand the trickle because ults are going to be coming in. And if we even have a chance of that, you'll need a little bit more powerful healing to do so. Well, guys, did you enjoy the video? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe because we upload each and every day, so you're going to want to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Linked in the description, you can check out our Twitter and our Discord server where you can interact with our community and find teammates to pair up with. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.